Hey everyone, I hope all of you had a good weekend, other than what happened yesterday, which is actually, of course, what this video is going to be all about. So, where do I begin? Where do I begin with what happened yesterday? Now, when I was making the video on Friday, I thought to myself as I was making this video, you know what? This is a game that the Steelers would fuck up. I thought to myself that. In the pit of my mind, in the pit of my stomach, I said this would be a game the Steelers would fuck up. And deep in that pit of my stomach, the Steelers sure as hell didn't disappoint, did they? So I don't know, where do I begin? Do I talk about the offense that sucked? Do I talk about Mike Wallace, who should be getting the hell out of town? Should we talk about yet another game where the Steelers lose to a below 500 opponent? Keep in mind, this is the fourth team that Pittsburgh lost to that has a record below 500. Fourth team. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? A team that's supposedly the 6th seed right now in the playoffs lost to 4 teams with records below 500. Now, yeah, okay, maybe you have one of those games where you lose to a team below 500. Maybe you're just caught off guard and you just lost the game. It happens to a lot of teams, okay? So if it happens once, then yeah, we're going to be pissed off about it because we have a right to be as fans. But at the end of the day, if it's only just one, then usually 7, 8 times out of 10, that doesn't hurt you too much. Especially if it's in the other conference. But when you lose to 1, 2, 3, 4 teams, then that's a problem. And Mike Tomlin is to blame for that, ultimately. And Kevin Colbert, both of them, they're to blame for this loss. And for the other 3 losses before this one. Because this proves to me that Kevin Colbert, indeed, without a doubt, drafted busts. And I've heard a lot of people in Pittsburgh kiss that guy's ass for too long. But with each and every loss to teams that perform under 500, I'm proven right. Every single time, I am proven right about Kevin Colbert. If I own the team, I don't, unfortunately. But if I did, Kevin Colbert would be gone. Right away. Out. Because there's just no excuse for that. He drafted too many busts. Mendenhall, notice he's on the sidelines right now. He was sidelined for his poor performance at Cleveland, which was one of our 4 bad losses. The offensive line was a joke. No push at all on the offensive line, especially running the football. Not a damn piece of push. And what's even worse is that the San Diego offensive line, which is decimated, they have an excuse. Their offensive line is completely decimated. They got a push on Pittsburgh all damn day long. So I give it to San Diego, and if there's any fans out there in San Diego that are going to come across this video, congratulations on kicking our ass. Because you wanted this game. You wanted to win this game. And you played well in this game. All the way around. Defense was phenomenal. Offense was phenomenal. You made the plays, and we played like shit. And for that, San Diego fans, congratulations on your victory, because you deserved it. And unlike other Yinzers out there, you know what? I'm going to start congratulating the other fan base for when we lose. Because, I mean, it is clear you wanted to win that game. Okay? And Pittsburgh, again, was not motivated to play. That's just my opinion. And like I said, I talked about Colbert picking bus. We talked about Mendenhall. We talked about Mike Wallace needs to go. I didn't talk about him yet. But he's another bust. Who else is there? Hayward's done absolutely nothing. And everyone praised him that this was a great pick. Bullshit. So far he's stunk. Ziggy Hood, a joke. Where are these people? Timmons, for the most part, has been a jolly this year. Granted, he's played pretty well. But this is the thing. Pick after pick. Colbert has failed. Pick after pick as of lately. And prior to that, because he's been around a while, I mean, he got Polamalu. But then on the other side, there's Mendenhall. Mike Wallace. Ziggy Hood. That's a problem. And if I owned the team, he'd be gone. And now, when it comes to Mike Tomlin, he also deserves blame. And again, if I owned the team, I would put him on notice. I'm not ready to fire him yet because he's had success. He's gotten us to the playoffs every single year. But he needs to be put on notice. He needs to not feel comfortable in his seat. And I would tell him at the end of the year that if this happens again, regardless what happens, and you lose to 4 of these teams, and there seems to be a lack of discipline like there's been all year, then we're going to go in a new direction. That's if I was owner. And I'm sure a lot of you people that kiss the status quo's ass, you're probably happy that I'm not the owner right now because unlike Rooney, I would be tough. Rooney has no backbone. He has no spine. I always said, and always will stand by it, I will always stand by my opinion, Art Rooney II and Dan Rooney are overrated. They are overrated. They aren't that good. The original Art, he was good. And he was responsible for winning 4 Super Bowls with his moves. And these were moves criticized, too, by Pittsburgh. I talked about this in the other video, but I talked about Joe Green. And you had the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette article saying Joe who. They thought Joe Green was a terrible choice, but Joe Green ended up being only the best football player in Steelers franchise history. Arguably. But I say he was. So, there's just no leadership all the way around. Up to the top. From Rooney, Art II, who runs the main show now. He has no leadership. He stinks. He's a bum. Then you go down to Colbert. He's not a leader. Mike Tomlin ain't a leader. There are no leaders on this team. And my friends, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. And that's why we're losing these games. And keep in mind, not only did we lose 4 games to winnable teams, we almost had a 5th loss to Kansas City at home. And it is very embarrassing that the 60,000 or whatever it was fans, roughly 60,000 fans that went to that game in Pittsburgh, in the rain, in the chilly rain, they went and they paid a shitload of money to go down to that stadium and see another goose egg to a lesser opponent. Like I said, if it was 1, that might be different. But this was 4. And the Steelers paid good money to go down there to watch that. That's just sickening. Sickening. And people should be refunded. If I went to that game, I'd be asking for a refund after that. As a matter of fact, if any of you went to that game, you should be asking for a refund. If not, then what the fuck's wrong with you? Because that's not what we were supposed to see yesterday. Now, granted, I thought it'd be close. I thought Roethlisberger would be a little rusty early on. But I thought Pittsburgh would keep it close and then maybe win it. That's what my head said. Even though my stomach and heart said that we were going to fuck up like we did. So yeah, I don't know what to say. And yeah, Mike Wallace has got to go. This bum has got to go. Throwing a temper tantrum when we don't go deep. And then when we went deep, he dropped the fucking football when he could have had a touchdown and turn the game around when it was 3-0. Jesus Christ. Get this guy out of here. If he's back next year, I'll be pissed off. I'll tell you how much. He don't deserve it. Unless he gets below market value. It is astonishing. And like I said, no push on the offensive line for us. And their side, and the San Diego side, God bless them, they had a push all day long. They played with heart. And like I said, I congratulate the Chargers fans because they played like heart. And the Steeler fans had to witness an atrocious performance down in Pittsburgh yesterday. And Pittsburgh has some of the best. I talked about this the other week. We have some of the best fans in football. Only Green Bay could probably argue about the authenticity of their fans. Green Bay and Pittsburgh have great fans. And what Pittsburgh fans witnessed last night was just completely disgraceful. And they should be ashamed. In Pittsburgh to lay a goose egg like that in front of a passionate fan base. We're not like the bandwagoners that only like good teams and good players. We're a fan base that stays with this team no matter what. And the fact that we lost, they owe us an apology. The Steelers, Mike Tomlin, Todd Haley, Kevin Colbert, Art Rooney II, Dan Rooney, they owe us an apology for their incompetence this year. The saying goes, karma's a bitch. And the Steelers lost to 4 teams that have records under 500. This is the 4th. So, with that in mind, I think this time around, I said it a couple weeks ago. I said they were done a couple weeks ago, but I think this time it's going to be a fact. Because the Steelers will fuck up to someone. They will fuck up to someone. Maybe not at Dallas. Maybe not Cincinnati, but then there's always Cleveland. There is always Cleveland that they will fuck up to. They'll fuck up to someone. And then when they do, Cincinnati will take the 6th seed. Mark my words. They will take the 6th seed. So, yeah, I mean, it looks done. And like I said, I think it should happen. I hope it happens. Not because I don't like them, because I do. But this needs to be a wake-up call for future years. Plus we get a better draft pick, but that's besides the point. But in future years, if you play down to the opponent, and you do it as constantly as they've done, they should miss the playoffs. Because that should teach them a fucking lesson. That you can't do that. Week after week. So yeah, that's my opinion. I hope it happens because they need to be taught a lesson. They need to be taught a damn lesson about what happens when you do this. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times, and almost a 5th time. This is what happens. And like I said, this loss is on the coach. And oh yeah, 4th and 1. Stupid play call. Either punt the fucking football or quarterback sneak it. Don't do a predictable running play when your offensive line has been beat around all first half. Stupid! And people are complaining about not going for 2 and you're down 3 scores. I said at that point the game's fucking over anyway, so it doesn't even matter. So I think the 4th and 1 call, that was dumber. And that shows Tomlin's incompetence this year. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. Feel free to comment if you want to vent about this game. I don't blame you. You should be asking for a refund, and that is it. But, yeah, I mean, this is what happens. I think Pittsburgh will miss the playoffs. Karma is a bitch. The chickens will come home to roost. This team is done, and this time I am standing by it, even if they win at Dallas. I'm not flip-flopping. This team is done. And you can put it in the books, and I am glad it is because in the future this will be good for them. This will teach them a lesson. This will teach them a good lesson. Anyway, that is it, everyone. Have a good one, everyone.